Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So today we are going to wrap up this Joseph Murphy SP course that we've been doing over the past several weeks. I'm going to read the helpful pointers at the end of this chapter, which in this chapter, Murphy actually calls review your actions. If you're new to this channel or new to this course, I have gone over and Marvin Daniels has joined me for several of the videos. I've gone over reviewing the power of your subconscious mind, the chapter in the power of your subconscious mind called the subconscious mind and marital problems. This is the SP chapter. Even though there are many other chapters dealing with relationships and happiness, fulfillment, etc., in the power of your subconscious mind, and they're all great, this chapter really focuses on romantic relationships and common problems and solutions that Murphy saw and recommended. So these pointers that Murphy's going to go over, obviously are stuff that we've already discussed in this course. The link to the entire course will be in the description below. If you have not watched the entire course, I would suggest doing so. But we're just going to go over these points that Murphy has here to kind of sum up his SP philosophy in a neat little package. There's 16 points here. And yeah, what I have noticed coming much more from a mental health, counseling, somatic background, and I would say a more mystical, spiritual background, what I have noticed is that most of the specific person, manifest your person back romantic relationship advice that we see on Reddit and YouTube and on other social media platforms in regards to law of assumption advice is really not that healthy long term for the people trying to manifest a person into their life, and also for the person that they're trying to get into their life or get back into their life. It's not very healthy. It's not very sustainable. It often doesn't seem to follow the golden rule: do unto others as you would have done to yourself. And I think that becomes strikingly apparent when you read this chapter of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. This chapter that we've just gone over tells you what to do. Okay? Frankly, if you work with me, if you work with Marvin, we'll tell you what to do in a similar way. And it's just very different than most of the SP advice out there. What actually works for you long term, what's going to make you feel happy, fulfilled, more loving, get into a wonderful relationship with a wonderful person, have better social interactions with your family and friends and coworkers, is by following the kind of advice that Murphy's about to lay out. And yeah, obviously, if you want to speak to me or Marvin, you're welcome to fill out the questionnaire link that's in the description as well. You can fill that out, and we can schedule a brief consultation to see if we can help you. So here are the 16 pointers. Point number 1. Ignorance of mental and spiritual laws is the cause of all marital unhappiness. By praying scientifically together, you stay together. So, I'm not going to give long commentary on many of these points, but what Murphy's saying here is that if you understand the psychology of how we work and how we interact, if you understand the benefit of following the golden rule and how you think of yourself for both good or bad is how you often think of others and project onto others. If you understand that and apply it in a sane, healthy, rational way, your relationships will improve. Ignorance of this is what causes unhappy relationships. Point number 2. The best time to prevent divorce is before marriage. If you learn how to pray in the right way, you will attract the right mate for you. Very similar to point number 1. You want to make sure you are with somebody who wants to be with you and whose sensibilities align. Marvin and I always talk about, and most people who do legitimate relationship coaching and are not just telling you you're going to fix everything in 3 weeks or 2 months or whatever, most people who are counseling you in regards to a relationship will tell you that there's going to be a honeymoon phase. That honeymoon phase, I would say, usually is about 6 months. It can be a little bit less, it can be a little bit more. You're going to find out a lot about your partner in those first 6 months, but then you're going to find out even more in all likelihood after that. Don't rush into a relationship. Don't meet each other and make your marriage plans the next week. You can do that if you want, but you are taking a big risk if you do that, in my opinion. You have to learn each other's sensibilities if you're going to be with somebody long term. And you have to learn how to work with the other person's sensibilities. And that means loving them for who they are and not trying to change them dramatically or change who they are emotionally. That's the work. Point 3, Joey Murphy writes, marriage is the union of a man and woman who are bound together by love. Their hearts beat as one, and they move onward, upward, and Godward. Obviously, it can be a union of a man and a man or a woman and a woman. This point is very beautiful, very clear, okay? Let's not overcomplicate things that don't need to be overcomplicated. Their hearts beat as one, and they move onward, upward, and Godward. It's very poetic, but it's also just very clear what Murphy's getting at there. Love, understanding, completeness, wholeness, fulfillment, just being with each other. Onward, upward, and Godward. Point 4, Joey writes, marriage does not bequeath happiness. People find happiness by dwelling on the eternal truths of God and the spiritual values of life. Then the man and woman can contribute to each other's happiness and joy. Okay, this is again why you shouldn't just watch this video. You need to watch other, videos in this course. What Murphy always talks about in The Power of Your Subconscious Mind and elsewhere is that you want to dwell and contemplate on the good, which is God, right? You want to contemplate on those high ideals, as I like to call them, that stir you, that resonate with you. Peace, harmony, happiness, prosperity, joy, love. You dwell on those eternal truths. You bring that out in yourself, and you give it. Don't take it. Don't be looking to take it. Look to give it to your partner. And it contributes to each other's happiness. Okay? It's a lot of this SP work. Point 5. You attract the right mate by dwelling on the qualities and characteristics you admire in a woman or a man. And then your subconscious mind will bring you together in divine order. So, LOA, folks. That's the stuff. You dwell on the qualities and characteristics you admire. You bring them out from it within you, and then you give them out to the world. And you naturally tend to attract the right people, including the right romantic partner, into your life by doing this. It might happen quickly. It might happen slowly. It might not happen right away. But if you are doing this consistently, if you want to be in a good relationship and you are doing this, if you are bringing out these wonderful qualities that resonate most deeply with you, bringing it out from yourself and presenting yourself and giving that kind of energy, that kind of quality to people in your life, chances are that a romantic partner that aligns with that is going to come into your life relatively quickly, meaning within the next year or two. And everybody's different, and often, honestly, it will be faster than a year. But even if for some reason it doesn't happen within a year or two, and for most of you, it absolutely will. But even if it doesn't, if you are giving out these qualities in such a way, you're going to feel so much better that even if you're not with a partner, you're going to feel so much more fulfilled than you do right now. Even if you're with an SP right now, if you're unhappy, you're going to be more fulfilled being alone and giving out bringing these qualities out and giving them out than you do with an unhappy partnership that you might currently be in. This is, again, not the kind of advice you're going to hear on many SP type of channels. It's because, like Marvin and I like to say, I'm telling you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Point 6. You must build into your mentality the mental equivalent of what you want in a marriage partner. If you want to attract an honest, sincere, and loving partner in life, you must be honest, sincere, and loving yourself. Okay? That is very clear advice. Do unto others as you would have done to you. Be who you want to be inwardly. Actualize those ideals you want in a partner. Actualize love, givingness, helpfulness, peace. Be that to yourself, and that kind of partner shows up. Your standards rise. Point 7. You do not have to repeat mistakes in marriage. When you really believe you can have the type of man or woman you idealize, it is done unto you as you believe. To believe is to accept something as true. Accept your ideal companion now mentally. So again, this is, more typical law of assumption advice in a great way, where, you hear Murphy or Neville saying it's done. Accept it now, it's done. You already can feel it. You can already feel your partner. You already are with your partner. When you really believe you can have the type of person that you want in a relationship, it's done to you as you believe it. To believe is to accept something as true. Accept your ideal companion now mentally. Feel it. It's done. Those qualities I want, they are done. When you really believe you can have it, you have it. It will inevitably come into your 3D reality. That's again why we're saying touch that love right now, that feeling of fulfillment, that feeling of peace and serenity of being with your romantic partner. You have it already. Point 8. Murphy writes, do not wonder how, why, or where you will meet the mate you are praying for. Trust implicitly the wisdom of your subconscious mind. It has the know-how, and you don't have to assist it. Okay? Again, great law of assumption advice. The kind of stuff you hear Neville talk about all the time. The kind of stuff you hear Murphy talk about all the time. And once again, when he says the wisdom of your subconscious mind, subconscious and imagination are synonymous words on a practical level when we're talking about these principles. Emile Coué said that, and it's a good thing to keep in mind. So trust implicitly the wisdom of your imagination. It has the know-how, and you don't have to assist it. Okay? If you become expectant, if you believe you can have the partner you want, it's done to you as you believe. Again, to go back to what Murphy wrote in the previous pointer, accept your ideal companion now. Accept it, and you don't have to wonder about how, why, where. Again, you can watch some of the videos. It goes over this more from the course earlier in the course. Point 9. You are mentally divorced when you indulge in peeves, grudges, ill will, and hostility toward your marriage partner. You are mentally dwelling with error in the bed of your mind. Adhere to the marriage vows. I promise to cherish, love, and honor him or her all the days of my life. We've gone over this. And obviously this isn't just your marriage partner, this is your SPE. You say, oh, I want this person back in my life, but then you're still angry at them. Or I want this to work out, but then you list all these things that are wrong with your partner. That's not how this stuff works, guys. Ties right into the next point, point 10. Cease projecting fear patterns to your marriage partner. Project love, peace, harmony, and goodwill, and your marriage will grow more beautiful and more wonderful through the years. Okay, this all again is obviously not just about people who are already married. This is like you want your SP, right? One reason you probably don't have them is because you are projecting fear patterns onto your partner. Project love, peace, harmony, and goodwill, and your relationship will grow more beautiful. And this is the thing. If you want to be in a relationship with somebody and you're not, if you project these qualities onto them and from yourself, you feel it yourself and you give that to them, if it doesn't work out with them, it will work out with someone else as long as you continue to give out those qualities: love, peace, harmony, goodwill. As long as you keep on feeling those yourself and giving those out to others. Again, this is what many of you do not want to hear. It's what you probably need to hear, many of you. Not all of you, but many of you. There's a very good chance that the person you think you want to manifest, if it is a specific person out there, is not going to end up being the specific person in your life long term. Again, people don't want to hear that, but it's the truth a lot of the time, the majority of the time. You start giving yourself more love, more peace, more harmony. You start giving that out more. And you might realize it might take 3 months, it might take 6 months, it might take a year, it might take a year and a half, but oh my God, it's not actually that other person that I wanted. It's this feeling I have in a partner that aligns with this new feeling, these higher standards. Point 11, radiate love, peace, and goodwill to each other. These vibrations are picked up by the subconscious mind, resulting in mutual trust, affection, and respect. This is when we talk about thought transmission. This is what Murphy's referring to. Because, Marvin and I give very sober advice, and I give very stark advice sometimes when it comes to this SP advice. People think, oh, Tim doesn't believe in a lot of these ideas. I believe in most of these ideas. I just don't use esoteric language that confuses people and misleads you into thinking that you can manipulate people long term and expect that to make a fulfilling relationship for you. Thought transmission is absolutely real. And I see it all the time in my own life, and I see it all the time working with clients. Radiate love, peace, and goodwill to your SP. These vibrations are picked up imaginatively in the subconscious by your SP, resulting in mutual trust, affection, and respect. And here's the thing, you can do that. You can be giving love, and your SP will sense that, I think. But they might not be at the point where they can actually do something about it. They might still be full of too much shame or fear or just unable to work through stuff that you yourself are trying to work through. And so even though you're giving your love, sending out these positive, loving, harmonious vibes, They might not reach out to you still. They might not be able to process stuff. They certainly might not be able to be with you. And again, that's why there's going to come a time where either they come back, and the mutual trust, affection, and respect is enough that they come back, or there's going to come a time, and this is what happens much more frequently. People don't want to hear this, telling you the truth, not what you want to hear. Where there's going to come a time where you've been doing this for a while, you've been giving love genuinely, and you come to the realization, my God, this person's just not ready. They're not the right person for me. I have to move on. Thought transmission, in doing all these things, like even like robotic affirmations, for instance, they will work. You are energetically, subconsciously, imaginatively connected with your SP, especially if you've been in a relationship with them already, right? But they're not a long-term fix. It's this deeper work, this deeper giving of mutual trust, affection, and respect that is needed. And if your SP if you're giving that, but your SP is unwilling to really accept that and give that back to you, your relationship's not going to work long term. I hope that many of you watching this are understanding what I'm saying here. This is it, guys. Point 12, Joey writes, a nagging wife is usually seeking attention and appreciation. She is craving for love and affection. Praise and exalt her many good points. Show her that you love her and appreciate her. All right, now again, this is not necessarily gender specific. But I hear somewhat often, like, oh, should I go in no contact? And it's as Marvin and I always say, it's a nuanced answer. There's no one school fits all. You should not be in contact with the person. You should be in contact with the person. But a lot of the time, the reason that relationships fall apart is because a person is not getting the loving attention and appreciation and affection that they want, and they are not being praised or exalted for their many good points, for why you want to be with them in the first place. And that's why Murphy says, like, show them that you love them and you appreciate them. That is why, generally speaking, not always by any means, but the majority of the time, I recommend to people, don't do no contact, be in good contact. Make it very clear how much you love this SP, you love your person, how much mutual trust, affection, respect you have for them, and how much you want to exalt them and praise their many good points. Again, I hope people are getting this. Joey Murphy, great relationship teacher. Point 13. A man who loves his wife does not do anything unloving or unkind in word, manner, or action. Love is what love does. Obviously, this goes for a woman too. Again, you see all the time. People say, oh, I love my wife, I love my husband. And then they're 10 minutes later complaining about them. That's not how this works. Love is what love does. Keep the big picture in mind. Forget about all the cool techniques. And again, the techniques often work short term. The techniques have some value for sure. And you can learn something from the techniques. But what we're discussing here, these pointers, this is the big picture SP stuff. And this, frankly, is why you get coaching or meet with a relationship counselor or a therapist. Someone who actually understands the dynamics of a relationship. This ties right into the next point. Point 14. In marital problems, always seek expert advice. You would not go to a carpenter to pull a tooth. Neither should you discuss your marriage problems with relatives or friends. You should go to a trained person for counsel. This is a huge point. Marvin and I were talking about this in one of the videos. You can listen to your friends, you can listen to your family members, you can go on Reddit or other social media platforms and discuss your issues. You can write YouTube comments. None of that's expert advice. Usually, at least. Some of us are fortunate enough to have a friend or two or a family member or two that we can trust enough where they can give us objective advice and not be too subjectively involved in the situation. Most of us do not have that. And if you think talking to strangers, people you've never met in real life, on Reddit or YouTube or wherever, talking about Neville, quote unquote, Neville Goddard and the law of assumption and how to manifest your SP, if you think that's expert advice, I've got lakefront property to sell you in Arizona. Excuse me, not lakefront, oceanfront property. That's having your head in the sand, just being gullible. In relationship problems, in SP issues, always seek expert advice. You would not go to a carpenter to pull a tooth. Neither should you discuss your marriage problems, your relationship problems, your SP problems with relatives or friends or strangers on the internet. You should go to a trained person for counsel. And, I kind of implied this just a couple minutes ago, but that can be a coach, that can be a counselor, that can be a therapist, that can be a pastor, but somebody who actually has some experience and some objectivity is what is needed the vast majority of the time. Not talking to friends or family or strangers on the internet. Point 15, never try to make your wife or husband over. These attempts are always foolish and tend to destroy the pride and self-esteem of the other. Moreover, it arouses a spirit of resentment that proves fatal to the marriage bond. Cease trying to make the other a second edition of yourself. We spoke about this in a recent video. This is why, short-term techniques that work, like robotic affirmations and some of these stats techniques, as effective as they can be, they often intentionally or inadvertently tend to destroy the pride and self-esteem of the other. Because essentially, if we're really being honest, we're being self-centered and basically trying to manipulate the other person into being something that we want, as opposed to giving them love, giving them affection, giving them the ideals that they actually want in their life. We're telling them, this is how I want you to be, and you better be like this. It arouses a spirit of resentment that proves fatal to the relationship bond. And, this is why, if you want to do self-concept work and use robotic affirmations or do SATs and do self-concept work in that way, it's great. I'm all for that. But as Neville always said, there's no one to change but self. And that means that these techniques, in my opinion, should be utilized in a way where you're working to change yourself, to be more in touch with who you are. It's got nothing to do with the other person, except that you want to give these wonderful qualities of love to the other person. And if you're visualizing about the other person, it's in this loving way, not in this way of making them over. Of I'm me first best and you better bow down to me. And again, a lot of people on YouTube and on Reddit mean well when they give this kind of technique-oriented advice. But in reality, it doesn't work long term unless you do the serious self-concept work and realize that being in a relationship is about giving more than getting. And allowing the person to be in love. Final point from these wonderful pointers that Murphy has at the end of this chapter. Point 16, pray together and you will stay together. Scientific prayer solves all problems. Mentally picture your wife as she ought to be. Joyous, happy, healthy, and beautiful. See your husband as he ought to be. Strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and kind. Maintain this mental picture and you will experience the marriage made in heaven, which is harmony and peace. Beautiful. Again, when Murphy says pray together, and stay together. He doesn't necessarily mean you have to pray the way, some people pray. He's talking about imaginatively, subconsciously, uh, being of the state of mind where you see things harmoniously and lovingly, and seeing that reflected in your partner, and just having such wonderful love and high regard for your partner, for your family, for your friends, the people you work with, your community, the world. Yeah. So we've got about a half an hour with this video. I hope it was helpful. Again, check out the entire course if you have not. I also have a ton of SP videos on my channel. I've got a big playlist of SP videos. Marvin has a ton of SP videos on his channel. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on my website, radicalcounselor.com, or I can be reached via email at info@radicalcounselor.com. Have a great day.